Welcome to the Subway Siren Serenade, a story designed to guide you gently towards a peaceful night's sleep. Before we delve into the heart of our tale about a struggling musician named Leo and a mysterious subway siren named Lyra, we'll begin with a brief breathing guidance to help you unwind and relax. If you'd prefer to skip directly to the story, you can find the timestamps for each chapter in the description below. Also, if you enjoy this content and would like to see more like it, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now, settle into a comfortable position, whether it's lying in bed or reclining in your favorite chair. Let your body sink into the surface beneath you, feeling fully supported and at ease. Adjust your pillows or blankets to create a cozy nest just for you. Tonight, we'll journey into the hidden depths of the New York City subway, where ancient melodies called heart songs have the power to heal and connect. This is your time to release the day's worries and embrace the calming magic that awaits. Let's begin with a soothing breath. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, allowing the air to fill your lungs completely. Then, exhale gently through your mouth, like a soft sigh of relief. With each breath, feel your body softening, releasing any tension you may be holding. Imagine a gentle wave flowing in with each inhale and washing away the day's stresses as you exhale. Continue this rhythmic breathing, feeling yourself becoming more and more relaxed with each breath. If your mind starts to wander, that's perfectly normal. Just acknowledge your thoughts without judgment, like passing trains in the distance, and gently redirect your attention back to your breathing or the sound of my voice. There's nothing you need to do now except listen and allow the story of Leo, Lyra, and the heart songs to carry you into a state of deep relaxation. Now, let the serenade begin. Chapter 1. The Dissonance of Dusk. The Union Square subway station, usually a cacophony of rumbling trains and hurried footsteps, seemed to hold its breath on this particular Tuesday evening. Leo, a young man whose dreams were as worn as the guitar case he carried, sat perched on a stool near the downtown 6 train platform. His fingers, long and nimble, danced across the strings of his guitar, but the melodies he coaxed from the instrument seemed to dissipate into the stale air, swallowed by the indifference of the passing crowds. He sighed, the sound barely audible above the distant screech of a braking train. Tonight, even his music felt out of tune with the city's rhythm, each note a small, unheard lament in the vast concrete labyrinth. He'd come to New York with hopes as bright as the marquee lights on Broadway, only to find himself another anonymous troubadour lost in the city's relentless hum. He played on more out of habit than hope, his gaze fixed on the flickering fluorescent lights overhead. Each flicker seemed to mirror the dimming of his aspirations. The faces of the commuters blurred into an indistinguishable tide of weariness, their eyes downcast, their shoulders slumped. He saw his own reflection in their tired expressions, a mirror to his fading optimism. Was this all there was? A monotonous cycle of unnoticed performances, each day dissolving into the next like a forgotten tune? A particularly loud screech of a train made him look down and cover his ears, squeezing his eyes shut. When the noise had passed, Leo opened his eyes, and he saw her. Standing at the edge of the platform, as if she had materialized from the shadows themselves, was a woman. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen in the the subway. Her presence was a stillness in the heart of the urban storm. Her eyes were closed, a gentle smile gracing her lips, as if she were listening to a melody inaudible to everyone else. A faint, almost imperceptible luminescence seemed to surround her like a soft halo. A sense of tranquility emanated from her, a stark contrast to the anxious energy of the station. Leo found himself inexplicably drawn to her, his fingers stopping on the strings of his guitar. He watched, captivated, as she swayed gently, her movements as fluid as the smoke that curled from the food vendor's cart nearby. It was as if the city's chaotic symphony had faded, leaving only a quiet, peaceful hum in its wake. He couldn't explain it, but he felt a strange sense of calm settle all over him, a feeling he hadn't experienced since he first arrived in the city with his heart full of dreams. The woman's eyes, when she finally opened them, were the color of warm honey, and they met his across the platform. In that instant, the noise of the subway seemed to recede even further, replaced by a profound and comforting silence. A small, almost imperceptible smile touched the woman's lips as she took a step towards him. It was a smile of knowing, of understanding, a smile that hinted at a secret world hidden beneath the city's gritty exterior. As she moved closer, Leo noticed the subtle, melodic chime that seemed to accompany her, like the tinkling of tiny, unseen bells. It was a sound that resonated deep within him, stirring a long-dormant ember of hope in his chest. He felt an unfamiliar lightness, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders. "Your music," she said, her voice a gentle whisper that seemed to weave its way through the remaining sounds of the station. "It carries a sadness, but also a beautiful strength." Leo, usually quick with a self-deprecating remark, found himself speechless. He simply nodded, clutching his guitar a little tighter. "Perhaps," she continued, her honey-colored eyes holding his gaze, "you've been listening to the wrong rhythm. Come, let me show you the heart song of the city." And with that, she extended a hand towards him, an invitation to a world beyond the dissonance, a world where music held the power to heal and to connect. He decided to go with her. What did he have to lose? Chapter 2. Echoes of the Underground. The following evening, Leo found himself back at the Union Square station, his guitar case resting at his feet. He had half expected the enigmatic woman Lyra, as she had introduced herself, not to appear. Yet, as the clock hand inched past the designated time, a familiar melodic chime echoed through the station, growing louder as she walked toward him. There she was, a beacon of serenity amidst the swirling chaos. Her presence seemed to soften the harsh edges of the station, the fluorescent lights seeming to dim, casting a warmer, more inviting glow. Tonight, she wore a long, flowing dress the color of twilight, and her hair, the color of dark honey, was braided with what looked like strands of woven moonlight, each catching the light differently, giving her an ethereal glow. "Are you ready to hear the heart song?" Lyra asked, her voice a gentle murmur that seemed to calm the rattling of the approaching trains. Leo, his initial skepticism replaced by a burgeoning curiosity, nodded eagerly. He had spent the day replaying their brief encounter in his mind, the memory of her voice and the strange tranquility she exuded a soothing balm to his usual anxieties. Lyra led him away from the busiest platforms towards a quieter, dimly lit section of the station. They walked past old, forgotten maintenance doors and behind a row of vending machines, finally stopping in front of a section of wall covered in intricate, almost imperceptible carvings. They were unlike any graffiti he had seen before, swirling patterns that seemed to shift and change as he looked at them, depicting scenes of old New York. Lyra placed her hand on the cool, smooth surface of the wall, her fingers tracing the lines of one of the carvings. "The heart songs," she explained, her voice taking on a reverent tone, "are ancient melodies passed down through generations of subway sirens. Each note resonates with the city's unique energy, its joys, its sorrows, its hopes, and its dreams." She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began to sing. The sound that emerged from her was unlike anything Leo had ever heard. It was a melody that seemed to weave itself into the very fabric of the subway, a song that was both hauntingly beautiful and profoundly calming. Each note seemed to vibrate with the history of the old city. As Lyra sang, the station around them seemed to transform. The air, usually thick with the smell of dust and electricity, became infused with a subtle, sweet fragrance, like that of night-blooming jasmine and old books. The distant rumble of trains morphed into a gentle, rhythmic pulse, like the beating of a giant, slumbering heart. Leo felt a tingling sensation in his fingertips, an energy that seemed to flow from the wall, through Lyra's voice, and into his own body. He instinctively reached for his guitar, his fingers finding the chords that mirrored the melody Lyra was singing. He closed his eyes, letting the music guide him, feeling a connection to something ancient and powerful. He felt a tear roll down his cheek, unsure of what to feel. When the last note faded, a profound silence settled over them. It was a silence filled not with emptiness, but with a sense of peace and completion. Leo opened his eyes, looking at Lyra with a newfound understanding. He was beginning to grasp the truth in her words, the power hidden within the heart songs. "Tonight you learned the first song. There are others," Lyra said, a gentle smile gracing her lips, each with its own unique power to heal and to harmonize. "Are you willing to learn them, Leo?" He looked at her and, without hesitation, nodded, knowing that his life had irrevocably changed, that he was no longer just a struggling musician, but a guardian of a secret magical world that existed beneath the bustling streets of New York City. He felt at peace. Chapter 3. The Harmony of Hearts. Leo practiced the heart song diligently in the days that followed, the melody becoming a constant presence in his waking thoughts and even in his dreams. The tune was etched in his mind. His small, cluttered apartment, usually a reminder of his struggles, now seemed filled with a quiet energy, a subtle vibration that echoed the song's calming rhythm. As he played, his fingers moving across the strings with a newfound confidence, he noticed a change not only within himself, but also in the atmosphere of his tiny living space. The air seemed lighter, the shadows less daunting, and the sounds of the city outside his window appeared softened, less intrusive. The once familiar feeling of discouragement that had weighed him down was replaced by a sense of purpose, a quiet determination that he had not felt in years. He felt energized. When he returned to the Union Square station with his guitar, the change was even more apparent. The station, once a symbol of his anonymity and struggles, now felt like a familiar friend, a place of hidden potential. The crowd still hurried past, their faces etched with the usual city weariness. But as Leo began to play the heart song, a subtle shift occurred. It wasn't a dramatic transformation, but rather a gradual softening of the edges. People's strides slowed, their expressions relaxed, and some even paused, closing their eyes for a moment, as if savoring the unexpected tranquility. He felt proud, like he was making a difference. One evening, as Leo played, he noticed a young woman lingering nearby, her eyes fixed on him with an intensity that mirrored his own when he first saw Lyra. She was a dancer, her movements as fluid and graceful as Lyra's own, and he could see in her eyes the same yearning for connection, the same unspoken understanding of the city's hidden rhythms. As their eyes met, he knew instinctively that she too could hear the deeper melodies of the city. He smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes, and continued to play, weaving the heart song into a tapestry of sound that seemed to envelop the entire platform. He felt a sense of kinship with the dancer and the other commuters who were drawn to his music. Lyra, who appeared beside him as silently as a passing breeze, smiled knowingly. The heart songs have a way of finding those who need them, she murmured, her voice barely audible above the gentle hum of the melody. She then turned to him. They also revealed those who are ready to learn. She explained that the city's energy was a complex web, and that the heart songs, when played together, could create a symphony of healing that extended far beyond the subway walls. She began to teach him a new song, a melody that intertwined with the first, creating a richer, more complex harmony. The dancer from before walked toward them, curious. As Leo learned the new song, he felt a deeper connection to the city, to its hidden heart that beat beneath the concrete and steel. He understood now that the subway wasn't just a mode of transportation, but a living, breathing entity with its own unique energy and its own ancient stories to tell. And he, along with Lyra and a growing number of others drawn to the heart songs, were becoming its storytellers, its guardians, its healers. A sense of belonging washed over him, a feeling he had long thought lost. He was no longer just a struggling musician, but a part of something larger, something magical, something deeply and profoundly meaningful. He felt complete. Chapter 4. The Crescendo of Compassion. With a second heart song now woven into his repertoire, Leo felt ready to share the music's transformative power beyond the familiar confines of Union Square. Lyra, her eyes sparkling with an encouraging light, suggested they venture to other stations, particularly those known for their high levels of stress and tension. Their next destination was Times Square, the city's vibrant, chaotic crossroads, a place where the ceaseless energy often bordered on overwhelming. The air here felt different, charged with a different kind of energy. As they stepped onto the platform, the cacophony of sounds, the blare of taxi horns, the shouting of street vendors, the incessant chatter of the crowds was almost deafening. Yet, as Leo began to play, the familiar sense of calm descended. The first heart song flowed from his guitar, its gentle melody cutting through the noise like a soft light piercing the darkness. Then, as Lyra joined in, her voice harmonizing with the second heart songs, An almost visible wave of tranquility seemed to spread outward from where they stood. He saw many people visibly relax, letting go of their stress. People paused, their hurried steps slowing, their brows unfurrowing. A couple locked in a heated argument stopped shouting, their anger visibly dissipating as the music washed over them. A street performer, his face etched with exhaustion, found a renewed energy, his movements becoming more fluid and joyful. Even the ever-present scent of hot dogs and exhaust seemed to fade, replaced by a subtle, calming fragrance, like that of freshly fallen rain on dry earth. Leo watched, his heart swelling with a mixture of awe and gratitude as the music worked its subtle magic. He was helping people. Not everyone, however, was receptive to the heart song's calming influence. As Leo and Lyra continued their journey through the subway system, they encountered individuals who seemed resistant to the music's effects, their faces hardening with suspicion or annoyance. Lyra explained that these were people who, for various reasons, were closed off to the city's positive energy, individuals who clung to negativity and discord. There was a group in particular that seemed to follow them from station to station. Among them, Leo noticed a man with sharp, intense eyes who seemed particularly perturbed by their music. He observed them from a distance, his expression unreadable, but his presence radiating a palpable sense of unease. Lyra, sensing Leo's apprehension, explained that this man was likely connected to a group known as the Dissonance, individuals who sought to manipulate the city's energy for their own selfish gain, creating discord and chaos to feed their power. She looked at him with worry in her eyes. Despite the undercurrent of unease, Leo and Lyra continued their mission, their music creating pockets of tranquility within the city's most chaotic spaces. They were joined by others who had been touched by the heart songs, the dancer from Union Square, a street artist from the Bronx, a quiet librarian from Queens, each adding their unique talents to the growing symphony of healing. With each performance, Leo felt a deeper connection to the city and its inhabitants, his music becoming a bridge between strangers, a testament to the power of empathy and compassion. He felt determined. Chapter 5. The City's Serenade. The growing group of heart song practitioners, now a diverse ensemble of musicians, artists and dreamers, decided to take their music to the heart of the city, Grand Central Terminal. It was a place where the city's energy converged, a grand echoing space that had witnessed countless arrivals and departures, a place of both joyous reunions and heartbreaking farewells. News had spread of their performances throughout the city, drawing the attention of many. The Dissonance had other plans and were planning on disrupting the performance. As they prepared for their performance, the man with the sharp, intense eyes was there, watching them, his stare cold. As Leo, Lyra, and the others took their places beneath the terminal's iconic celestial ceiling, a hush fell over the usually bustling space. The gentle strains of the first heart song, now familiar to many, filled the vast hall, weaving a tapestry of sound that seemed to resonate with the very architecture of the building. Lyra's voice, clear and strong, soared above the melody, carrying the second heart song, its message of unity and compassion echoing through the marble arches and along the grand staircases. The group that had gathered looked at each other, smiling. As the music swelled, the terminal seemed to transform. The massive space, usually filled with the hurried footsteps of commuters, became a sanctuary of peace. The light filtering through the towering windows took on a softer, more golden hue. The air, often thick with the smell of coffee and haste, was infused with the subtle fragrance of blooming flowers and old, cherished books. It was as if the city itself was holding its breath, listening to the music that flowed from its hidden heart. Even the man with sharp eyes seemed to visibly relax, letting go of his anger. The Dissonance, however, had not given up. As the music reached its crescendo, a series of jarring sounds erupted from the edges of the terminal. The screech of metal, the blare of distorted speakers, the amplified shouting of angry voices. They were trying to drown out the heart songs with their own discordant noise, attempting to fracture the harmony that had settled over the space. They began to walk towards the group, menacingly. But the music did not falter. Leo, his fingers dancing across the strings of his guitar, met the challenging sounds with a renewed determination. Lyra's voice soared higher, her notes weaving a protective shield around the gathered crowd. The other musicians, their instruments blending seamlessly, created a wall of sound that pushed back against the encroaching discord. And then something extraordinary happened. The people in the terminal, the everyday New Yorkers who had been touched by the heart songs, began to hum along, their voices joining the chorus, adding their own unique notes to the symphony of unity. The combined voices of hundreds of people filled the hall, creating a powerful wave of sound that overwhelmed the dissonance, washing away the negativity and restoring the harmony. The jarring noises sputtered and died. The angry shouts faded into silence. The man with the sharp eyes, his face now etched with confusion rather than anger, turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. As the last notes of the final heart song faded, a profound silence settled over the terminal, a silence filled with a sense of peace and completion. Then slowly a ripple of applause began, growing into a thunderous ovation. Leo and Lyra exchanged a smile, knowing that they had not only protected the city's heart, but had also awakened it to the power of its own song. The city, for that one magical moment, had found its true voice, a serenade of hope, resilience, and unity, a lullaby that would forever echo in the hearts of those who had heard it. Leo felt overjoyed. 32. Now sung.